Welcome to our phase 5, our final session with this team. I hope you all have enjoyed this, and I am excited to kind of wrap this all up. But I also want to iterate that our team is always available. Should you have any questions outside of these meeting times, you have my email, and I'm also going to talk about some other programming that's available to everybody a little bit later here. So I'll just get going with everything. As I mentioned, in the past, our goals are to support maple producers in growing customer bases and reinforcing brand identities. We want to build financial and operational sustainability within the maple industry, and we want to guide both new and established maple operations with this workbook. As you've gotten to know, the 5 stages of the planner are one, design, in which you're defining who you are and what you do. 2 is getting discovered, where you're reaching audiences. 3, you're building relationships and fostering loyalty and engagement. And then 4, which we wrapped up last week, which was ensuring sustainability by focusing on financial viability. And ultimately, this section, plan for action, is about assigning roles and resources and timelines. It's a little bit different than the processes that we've had in earlier sessions, but it's all related to everything. So as we progress through things, you'll notice that. Yes. So using this planner, I suggest everybody follow it chronologically, but then revisit and refine as your business evolves. As you integrate these exercises into your real life operations, you're going to find things that you're going to want to tweak and revisit here and there. And just to review, we just saw that. We went through the design phase, the get discovered phase, the build relationships phase, and then ensure sustainability phase. In phase 5, it's plan for action. What you're going to notice here, and I'm just kind of talk about this for a second, is the reason why I put this in here is because I had been for many years teaching kind of marketing, just like regular marketing, people, place, promotion, and like the 4, 5, 7 P's that are, and I was just realizing that a lot of people had a plan or had ideas, had a little bit of strategy, but then they were like, now what? Like, what should I be doing? And I, way back when I was in Peace Corps in Ecuador in 2005, my mother reached out to me, and she is in the field, and she was talking about how I should be taking a project management course. And I signed up for this amazing project management course. I bribed the local internet cafe to open up early and let me in at 4:30 in the morning so I could use all their bandwidth.
I'll let you in shortly.
And what happened was I took this Project Management Institute course, and ever since then, I feel like I've used what I learned in that course on a nearly everyday professional basis for 20 years. And so what I wanted to do was integrate some project management elements into this marketing plan. So that's what we're going to see today. And please feel free to chime in. It's going to be the similar kind of process where we'll go through some steps and phases. And then what we'll do is have some chance to, go back and forth just about this phase, but also the entirety of the course. So let's get started. So phase 5 is planning for action. This is all about going back and looking at our ideas and strategies and matching actions to them so that they will happen. So we want them to happen. As I mentioned before, revisit and refine your plan as you progress. But right now, I really like I was just explaining, after you developed a strategy within this course and within this workbook, This is really meant to be the final element because you're going to see everything that you've progressively put together. And now you want to look at that and make sure that you're properly assigning action to what needs to happen. So planning for action, it's the bottom line is we got to answer how are we going to accomplish all this? We need to consider everything that we've developed in our prior phases. We need to define tasks to accomplish our strategic goals, and we need to organize, assign, and communicate and track those tasks. Basically, we're creating an implementation plan. So in this first step, in this first kind of exercise that we're going to do, we have three parts here. We want to identify our key milestones. These are the major milestones for the product, or the project, or the service that we're developing. These are things like project kickoff or other major deliverables along the way. And so we'll talk about that. I'll give some examples, but basically we have milestones that we want to achieve upon a release of something. It doesn't need to be just a product. It could be a promotion, you name it. You can break these down as granular as you want and as general as you want. We'll talk about breaking down tasks within each milestone. So those tasks are basically what need to be completed in order to achieve the milestone. And then we'll create a timeline. You'll hear me talking about like a Gantt chart. That's something, if you're unfamiliar with a Gantt chart, you can look it up online, but it's basically a visual representation of what is necessary to achieve your milestones via tasks, assignments, and completions. So in part, right now, I'm just going to give you an example, and like I would like you to work along with the workbook section that I sent along, or just visualize everything right here and take some notes. But like I was saying, so part one and part two are defining key milestones, and then assigning tasks to each of those milestones. If you notice in here, these milestones might look familiar to you. They are the first two phases of our class. So I just wanted to use something very obvious. You can use whatever you want. You can think about whatever you want, but I want you to consider the milestone is the achievement that you want to get to, and the tasks are the actions that are necessary in order to achieve that. So as you see in here with these key milestones for designing the product, if you remember, we went over defining our purpose statements. We created messaging and guidelines. We defined target audiences. In the get discovered phase, what did we do? We identified sales channels. We created marketing action plans for each channel. We created online strategy. If you notice, the milestone is something like it's a noun, or if you will, it's something, and the task is the verb. It's the action. What are you going to do to achieve that? So I'll give you a chance to take about 3 minutes. We'll circle back around 7:15, and I'll come back to this. But yeah, it's your turn to check this out, get some ideas going, and I'll go back to that matrix to guide your thought processes. So I'll see you at 7:15. Okay, welcome back. So I want you to think about what you've developed here because you're going to be taking a lot of these things, like in past exercises. You're going to take the results of one exercise and bring it on to the next step and to the next exercise. So in the next example or part here, what we're going to do is we're going to take those tasks from that we created here, and we're going to bring them over and just create a simple timeline. I'll give you just about 10 minutes, but basically this is a real, I mean, 10 minutes, 2 minutes. This is just a realistic, imagining like when can you really get this done? Also, not only is it when does it need to get done, but you have to be realistic on when can you, your team, get these tasks completed. So this is what the matrix that I like to work with, and I'll just we'll come back at 7:18, and I'll give you just 2 minutes to just jot some ideas down there. Okay, so I hope you got some creative juices flowing, and now we'll move on to the next step here in this process, which is assigning tasks and responsibilities. We have our well, we have our milestones, we have our tasks, we have some timelines, thoughts, and now we're like, we're we got to think about who's going to be doing this and how it all gets done by our team, by our people, by our network. So our goal is to write down just like this is like a process that I do with a lot of clients. It doesn't need to be super in depth, but write down all the names of all of your team members that are going to be involved in this. I do know, and I'm well aware that sometimes it's just one person doing all of this, or maybe one or two or three people. But it is a good process to really understand all of the different roles that a single entrepreneur does have to take. You have it all in your head. This is your opportunity to get it down on paper. Um, and so, yeah, task assignment. You're assigning each task identified in your timeline to a specific team member or group, ensuring alignment with their skills and availability. That's really, really important. I know several people, nipple entrepreneurs, agricultural entrepreneurs in general, that are really good at understanding who they're working with and the networks and teams that they have in place. And then here, you want to define their roles. You want to clearly define who's responsible for each task, who's accountable, and who needs to be consulted or informed. You'll see what I'm talking about there. I brought up some keywords and I'm going to highlight them here. Uh, uh, a RACI matrix or RACI matrix, or however you want to pronounce this acronym, is one way of accomplishing this, defining roles. Um, And basically the bottom line is what you want to do is be able to list these people, well, the tasks and the people that are going to accomplish everything by defining one for the R, who is responsible, who is actually, this means who is actually doing the work. Then you want to talk about who is accountable. This is the person who's overseeing the work. And sometimes, and a lot of times, it's the same person in a lot of operations. But the next one, the C, consulted, is who needs to be involved to support task completion. So as we're talking like really, really generally about a lot of things here, um, if you're, going over like a product launch or something like that, you need to consult quite a few people. You need to consult, who's your suppliers, your shippers, and all of that. So if you're going to be launching or doing an event or something like that. So the consulted area can get pretty extensive, but it's just really important. And as we've done this in prior phases, but you really need to know who within and outside of your organization is necessary for this task completion. And then informed is who needs to be kept up to date on task process. Sometimes, like, you're in the middle of something. Sometimes you're contributing to an event. Sometimes so these are people that just need to know how is everything going? How is every task being completed? So I really like this matrix. It keeps everything in front of me. And this is basically an idea of how that type of matrix works. Um, I just threw some names in there, but as you can see, the tasks are on the left, and responsible, accountable, consulted, informed are on the right there. Um, I'll give you 5 minutes, or I'll give you about 3 minutes to just familiarize yourself with this, jot down some ideas like always. I'll go back and forth between the last two slides, and we'll see you at 7:25. Okay, welcome back. We'll get ready to move on to step 3 here. So in step 3, we're concerned about managing our resources. So these are kind of basic steps here, but it's just a good idea to get written down all of the resources necessary for the product or service and the task involved. Like, so we'll talk about, we need a budget, we need materials, we need equipment, we need personnel, and then allocate those resources to each task based on the product timeline and the task requirements, so we can ensure that our resources are available when needed. So uh, another matrix, like we're in the habit of looking at matrices. So we have, some example tasks that need to get done. So in this example, like, I'm at the top, I want to create a new logo. What are the resources, basic resources, top level? What do I need? I need a pen and paper if I'm going to do it on my own, or I'm going to use some type of software, or maybe I need to hire a consultant. So you need to, really, these are just one, two resources, but in all honesty, there's a lot of resources necessary and that are to create a new logo. So the more in depth, the more detailed, the better. And with each resource, it's a good idea to understand the availability, especially when it comes to when you're contracting services, or when you're obviously, like, when you're purchasing supplies. It's just a really good idea to visualize when you realistically are going to be able to get that resource that you can employ. So I got another example of, like, printing labels. What do you need? You need a printer. Where availability? Well, it's always available. It's in my office, or in my case. So I always got a printer available. I need to purchase bottles. What do I need? Obviously, like, I need an operating capital. So, it's really, really important to understand if you're going to need a cash injection, and also when you're going to be taking money out of your business, out of your cash. So sometimes, you might see that you might need a loan or something like that. So it's really good idea when you're, working on financial forecasting and such, to really meld your marketing plans with your financial forecasts, because you're going to be able to see when you're going to need some resources. And one of the major resources that every business needs is cash. So um, in the case that you might need to go to a source of cash or credit, you're going to need to know when you can do that, when it's available to you. And so it's just a really good idea to put that on the calendar for you. Um, and maybe you want to set aside some time to plan for a new product and create some strategy and brainstorm. And that main resource that you need is time. And as a joke, I put in there that the availability for more time is non-existent for most people, but I do honestly hope that you can create some time within your planning processes to get a little creative on things, and spitball about that new venture you want to get into. So um, take a swipe at this, think about it, ask some questions. We can circle back at around 7:32. Okay, welcome back. So we'll move on to the next step here. Step four is a very important step that in many cases is overlooked, but is gaining a lot of popularity for many reasons, but is, now that you're at this stage, you want to address potential risks. We want to identify risks that could happen, that could impact your product or service, your timeline, your milestones, your tasks, your personnel involved. So yeah, so performing a risk assessment, you want to evaluate the likelihood and the impact of each risk. Um, so as you develop this, like the likelihood and the impact of each risk, you also want to bring along some mitigation strategies that you develop. So, you have some form of a contingency plan in place. Um, our matrix in this case is, just defining the risk and then assessing likelihood and impact and then the mitigation strategy. So a lot of the time with likelihood and impact, I just do it on a 3 level. It's high, medium, or low impact, or high, medium, and low likelihood. And then mitigation strategy is, for this one, I just figured, a big deal with suppliers is, something's not going to arrive on time. What's the likelihood? It might be low, but the impact is going to be big time high. And so what am I going to do? I'm going to call a supplier 2 weeks before delivery or whatever I can to get a real good dialed in understanding of what's going to happen or if I need to take action on this. So a little bit more on risks, just talking about risks that we're talking a little bit about marketing risks, but there are so many levels of risk management that need to be considered. There's production issues, there's financing issues, there's management and operation issues, legal issues, health, like that what I mean by that is basically the health of the team, your health, your family health. Environmental issues are always prominent. And I've noticed a lot of things lately. I've been noticing people assessing risks to their, to when the community is involved. And I noticed that because as you've heard me mention in the past, I've been involved a lot in agritourism. And when people are inviting more attention to the farm. And when that happens, there's you're involving the community. So it's really important to assess the risk uh, to the community or image or relationship with the community when you're undertaking a certain initiative. And I'm sure you can imagine what I'm talking about with the ways that you have or plan to work with communities and that you're where you're established. So um, yeah, there's a variety of different risks. I would also like to point out and bring attention to what Mark Canella and I and our team have been working on for risk management and specifically in the area of market risks. We're going to be publishing several case studies in the near future that are real life documentaries, if you will, of what has happened on farms, not just here in Vermont. We have some cases in other parts of the United States, and we have some very interesting cases that we're developing with some things that have happened in Ontario. So pay attention to that. We will be informing this group in the near future about a variety of different risks, how they were addressed and mitigated. And so take a little moment to go back and think of some risks that are relevant to your initiatives right now. Think of the likelihoods of those risks actually coming to reality, and think about their impact on your business, and then just spitball some mitigation strategies that could get you going. Like I said, with all of these steps, it's just really meant for you to take some notes and come back in the future to this video or or with the workbook that we're going to give you. And so take a swipe at this. I'll give you 2 minutes actually. So I'll see you at 7:39. Okay, welcome back. We have one final step here, and that's developing communication strategies. I know we've talked about this in the past as far as like communication strategies with marketing, but this is more about um, what, like what we've been talking about in this session is like these tasks, what needs to get done. This is the project management side of communicating. It's not just about the sales, it's about getting to the sale. So in here, you want to identify stakeholders that are involved in the product and service and their informational needs. So think back to the Racky process that we did in a lot of those areas. You need to understand how you're going to communicate with these people and within their positions. What's really, really important, I mean, not only, I mean, we all know, I can talk and stress about the importance of communicating with your team, but also communicating with those people on the outside that are just on a periphery, but are very, very connected to your product, your service. It's extremely important to consider these people, write it down, um, figure out the communication channels. How is the best way to communicate with these people? Sometimes you already know, but also it doesn't hurt to just go out and ask a person, what do you prefer? Do you want me to email you, call you, set up a meeting? What do you want me to do so I can keep you informed on my project's goals? So think about that. Think about the channel, think about the timing, think about the messaging that you're going to want to convey to each stakeholder that's involved with getting this milestone achieved, or ultimately the milestone, but you can break it down into the by task. Um, so once again, and here you will see your last matrix of the course. But yeah, so this is just what I like to have on hand. It's a stakeholder. What channels do I communicate with these stakeholders by, and what are my key messages that I'm delivering? So when I talk about key messages, it's not the exact message. It's what is like the type of message that I'm going to be giving to them. Is it, oh, yep, product's ready for pickup, or or I need another, I need some supplies or something like that. It's basically the general gist of the key message that you're going to be communicating to the stakeholder via each channel that is preferred for communication channels. So give you a couple more minutes on that. We'll circle back at 7:44. Okay, welcome back. So something to consider here is, it's also a good idea to like basically think about a schedule, or just understanding, the timing of those messages, and, on when, and you already know, like you already established how you will communicate with these stakeholders. Um, and just like, yeah, always include regular updates and check-ins with these people that are necessary in making everything happen for your business. Just a few little kind of bits of advice. In when it comes to project management, I would definitely consider some, like, getting your eyes or using some form of software. There's a bunch of software out there. There are a, like now, like I was talking about 20 years ago, the Project Management Institute, PMI.org, was really big back then. They still continue to be very prominent in offering some really great courses. But if you just want to like try to pick up some free software, I would highly recommend Trello.com. It is just fantastic. I've been using it for 14 years now for a variety of different tasks. It just keeps me on target with a lot of things. I'm able to integrate teams and people and farmers. A lot of farm clients have joined me in using it. It just helps us stay on top of our tasks. It's very, very easy to pick up, and it's free. So I would highly encourage you, if you want to dive into project management, fiddle around, check some things out, check out Trello, check out the Project Management Institute. But there's also a bunch of other very valid offerings out there. So, a reminder about these exercises is it's not just about going through this planning process. It's about visualizing. It's about getting your eyes on what lies ahead of you. So ultimately, I hope that this process that we've had has basically given you something written down, and that you can get your eyes on, that you can scrutinize, that you can go back and revisit and revise in the future. But ultimately, it's something that will guide your decision making processes as you move forward. So, um, if anybody has any questions about this section, please feel free to chime in. All right. So one little reminder. You saw this last week with Mark Cannella presenting this. He's conducting a U.S. maple producer survey. Um, a, I will be sending this out again. Thank you to those of you who have already um, eh, completed this survey. It's really important for what the work that we're conducting here. And wrapping up here, I hope you guys all enjoyed, checking out this development of a marketing strategy. This is kind of a novel approach to developing marketing strategies. As I mentioned in the very first phase, this is a combination of what I've been putting together based on a variety of different marketing strategy development planning processes that are quite popular and stuff that I was taught in business school over the years, and then also some project management elements that I wanted to mesh into them. I hope you enjoyed this process of going through things. Like I mentioned, it's meant to be a very iterative process. Um, I will be sending everybody a full document that has all of these all of the phases that we worked on together. And what you will be able to do is you'll be able to complete it as many times as you want online. It's a fillable PDF format, so you'll be able to fill out each section, save it, print it, or whatever, and then also start anew whenever you want. You also will have the ability to print this out and write it down if you want, if you prefer to write things down. So that's going to be coming to you in the near future. You'll also have a video, access to all of our videos. I will make sure that's available to everybody. And then, looking ahead, please feel free to reach out to us. Part of my job at Extension within AgBiz is I field all calls. I field all calls about any type of anything from someone will call me saying that they just inherited some property and they want to revitalize it or something like that. My goal is to do a discovery session with you and figure out what we can do for you. There's a variety of different options out there, especially for Vermont residents. One major thing that I encourage Vermont residents that are interested in, um, you know, certain, business planning processes is to enroll or ask about and learn more about the Vermont Housing and Conservation Board's VHCB's Farm and Forest Viability Program. In that program, you'll have the ability to work with our network of business planning professionals to develop a solid business plan or a transfer plan or a succession plan, an enterprise analysis. We will figure out what your needs are. There are some qualification levels in there, but for all Vermont residents, if you really want to get into some business planning, I highly suggest reaching out to VHCB. I will send their link and their information in a follow-up email to everybody. If you happen to be in another state, I encourage you to directly go to finding out anything you can through your local extension, but I also do work with people out of state. So feel free to reach out to me. We can do a discovery session and I can figure out if I would be able to help you or if someone within my network would be able to help you. So don't hesitate to reach out. Um, the floor is open for anybody that has any questions. Otherwise, reach out if you have a question, send an email. We can put together a strategy one-on-one meeting together. It's up to you. Well, all right. Well, thank you, everybody, and I hope you have a wonderful evening and a happy Thanksgiving next week. Take care.